Okay, so the game plan today is that I'm going to try and make a web interface. Okay, it will be just coded up. We'll add graphics to it slowly, we'll add links to it slowly. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and add a container to my page. Okay, so every page usually has a container. What I do is I add a big container. My container holds my page and it collapses everything and pulls it back. Inside my container, I'm going to have, of course, I'm going to have a banner. I've got a banner for today, and I think I've shared it with you. If I press Shift and draw, I get a straight line. Shift restricts things. I think I have given you the banner as well. Have I given you a banner? Yeah, download banner. Now, some of you are asking me about Web 1 after Art 1. We will make the art for our website. Okay? So we will make the banner there. That extra bit of classes for creating you, and then after a few weeks you can do anything from my class anywhere. You say, okay, I've done this, I want to do something else, that's fine. But we'll use the art class to make the banner and we'll use this class to focus on the code. Okay? But you can do, after a few weeks, you can really shift and manage your own time. If you think you're ahead in one class, you can do work for other classes. But today I've given you a banner. Today's focus is not to draw the banner. So I'll have a banner. I'll have a banner. Now, navigation is a very tricky business. You see, navigation is done using lists. In the olden days, you used to use an image. Now everything is about accessibility. If you use an image, somebody who can't see will not know what the button is unless you put an alt tag and so on. Also, it does not scale up. So that this accepted standard is to use lists. So again, that we will not do, but we will make the container for it, and I will put some stuff there, and we will learn how to make links. Again, starting assuming zero knowledge, we'll make links. We will use lists and we will use classes for lists. And then I'm going to put a div tag here. So today I'm just sort of boxing out my page. Today's exercise will give me an opportunity to teach you about paddings, borders, margins, and a lot of CSS. I mean, the total number of CSS available is ridiculously enormous. Something like that. Okay, that's the game plan. So inside here, I'm going to put some padding. There'll be some padding here. Outside here, there will be some margin. Here also there will be some padding. Here also there will be some margin, and so on. It won't be all stuck together. So that's the game plan for today. I'm gonna close Photoshop. I don't need Photoshop. I do need, again, if you don't have Dreamweaver, just code it up. Today's CSS is going to be internal, not inline. It's going to be internal. Eventually, we'll take the CSS, put it external, and we will link the two files. Okay, but today we'll put the CSS in the same page. Eventually, we split it and just link them up. And some of you probably already know that, so that's cool. Today, we're also going to do one thing very important. Very, very important. Today, you're going to make a folder. So you will make a designated folder to work in. So I've got a folder somewhere here under Web 1. I call it Site 1. So I have a folder, and I've got a folder for images. I will also make a new folder for CSS. Okay. So you should have a folder for everything. A folder, then a subfolder for CSS, and a subfolder for images. So that's your folder structure. The idea of this is when you host your site, For example, in this site, these images, they are not built into the HTML. The HTML is only referencing them. And whatever the relative path is, so if it's in a subfolder or is it in a parent folder, the same file structure should be on the web host. Same file structure. So by having a structure like this, all you have to do is, when you publish your site, you take all of these files inside this folder, drop it on the server, and I'll show it to you. So if you are using Dreamweaver, then you have to use its extra features. Dreamweaver allows you to develop in an integrated environment. Okay, it's an integrated development environment known as IDE. Not that much, but some of the features it allows you to do is, for example, I can say site manage site. I'll just delete this site one which I created. I'm just going to delete it with the minus sign, and I'll show you what it does. Site, okay, manage site. Okay, it's whinging about one of the things that I have. So I kiss the kangaroo. I'll delete that as well. So let me just show you. Suppose I have this site, dilipk.com. You see in the files menu, and this is under window files, and the files menu, there is a small icon. This small icon goes from one screen to two screens. On my right, on your right, you see local folder, and on the left, see it says here remote server local files. If I connect, and I think that's the password, I don't know. So that's the actual remote server where I'm hosting files. So Dreamweaver allows me to throw my local files remotely and remote files locally. Okay, so that's the advantage of using sites in Dreamweaver. And if you, it will also check whether some images are missing. Sometimes you see on websites there's a cross, some images are missing. So in today's class, the first thing I'm going to do is site, new site. I'm going to give it a name. I'm going to call it site 1. My local folder. Now I've created a folder and subfolders. So I have to go and say where site 1 is stored locally. IDM 215, web 1, site 1. So I've got my local folder. My server, I don't have a server yet, but if I had a web hosting, I would get a name, I would get a password, and I could add those details. Okay, you can see this. I can actually add the details. So if you go for a free hosting like free hosting or something, which works from here except the sign up. The sign up doesn't work from here. But once you have signed up from home, you can actually host your work. And I would encourage you to sign up with 000 web host, free hosting. They're good free ones. There are many others. But I don't have one right now. Another thing I want to do is under advanced settings, I must specify where my images are stored. Because if I just go and get an image from another folder, from my pictures folder, and put it on my web page, it will warn me, hey, this picture is actually sitting outside your site folder. Do you want a copy inside your site? So it keeps it neat and tidy. So I will allocate an images folder. Okay, so that's my folder structure, and you can see there that's my files. If I rename files, it will ask me, do you want to update the links? Anybody that is referencing this file, do you want that file updated? If I move files, it will say, do you want them updated, and so on. So it's a neat little thing to do. Okay, and now I'm just going to start with a new HTML file. Now if you don't save your file, if you forget to save your file, it will not know how to build a relative path from the assets to your HTML, for example. And let me just try this. Now don't do this. If I was to just, let's say, insert an image, if I insert banner, see this, it says to make a document relative path, your document should be saved first. What he's saying is I need to know the relative path, the relative location of the folder with respect to this HTML file, so I can actually put a path. So now it doesn't know, so you just put file ra 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 ra. But what happens is, usually if something is sitting in a folder above, it goes dot dot slash. If something is sitting in a folder below, it will go images slash. Okay, that's how it's going to go. But we'll look at it in just a minute. Let me save it. File, save as. I did mention that the first page that is opened up when you go to a server, if you don't specify what page you want, the first page that is opened up is index.html. So I'm just going to create my index.html. So I've saved it. I'm just going up here. I'm just going to say site 1. Never leave a site untitled. Never leave the site untitled. You know what I've gained by putting my site title just now? By putting a site title, you see how many, what figure is this? 6 zeros million? 353 million? There are about 353 million results with untitled. See that untitled? Millions of sites with the untitled page title. By putting a page title, I'm better than about 300 million sites out there. Okay, so always put a page title. Right. Okay. So let's start building our div tags. So we just made a page structure. We saved an index file, and I'll quickly stop this video. And second part, we will start building the boxes which we planned.